Welcome to Beerstories from Beerstory Brewhouse and my new grain to glass video with a pseudo Doppelbock pseudo lager brewed with Kveik. So this is a full-on Doppelbock. It has all the bready notes, it has all the caramel and just smells wonderful. Yeah, I recommend you to try this recipe. It is a really good recipe. Yeah, starting off with the basics, it's 7.4% ABV beer, so it's not quite a Doppelbock. I think it's just in between a dark bock and a Doppelbock. The original gravity was 1069, final gravity 1013. EBC is 42, so it's a pretty dark beer. It is a clear beer, but you can't really see it here. I didn't use any finings at the end, but yeah, it's a beautiful dark reddish brown beer. IBU's 24, and yeah, well, that's the basics. The grain bill in this is 43% Munich 1, 35% Munich 2, 14% Pilsner, 3% Cara Munich 3, 1.5% Carafa Special 3, 1.5% Melanoiden, 1.5% wheat malt. Wheat malt is just to bump up the head retention a little bit, and as you can see, it is quite good. I don't think there's anything I want to change with the recipe, except that I only used Kveik because I had to brew 2 beers at the same time during the summer, and yeah, I only have 1 fermentation chamber, so it wasn't possible for me to brew 2 lagers at once, so I tried to make a pseudo lager. It has 21 IBUs of Hallertau Magnum added the last hour of the boil. It's boiled for 2 hours, and I do that to get a little bit of Maillard reaction, to get a bit more shelf stability. But I only added Magnum at the last 60 minutes, and then also 3 IBUs of Hallertau Mittelfrüh at 10 minutes left of the boil. And that's it for the hops. It's a pretty clean beer in that way. It's the grain bill here that dominates. Yeah, I also added some minerals. Basically, the most important thing here is to keep the minerals low, and then I was recommended to have a 2:1 of chloride to sulfate, and that's probably yeah, that's it. So when I mashed, I did a protein rest, 52 degrees for 25 minutes, and then I mashed for an hour at 67 degrees Celsius, and then I did a mash out at 78 degrees just for 10-15 minutes. You can see it all in the recipe. I'll link to that down in the description. It was actually a pretty easy beer to make. I added 3 packs of Lutra Kveik, and I added them at 35 degrees Celsius, and it actually kept the temperature there for the entire fermentation, 24 hours. And then it just slowly descended to 21 degrees, where I kept it for a week just to condition. But it was actually done fermenting in 24 hours, and that's what Kveik does. It's fast. It can handle the heat, so yeah, that was good. Chlorides in this is 75 and the sulfate is only 45. 5. So it's almost a 2 to 1. And basically that's it. It's a pretty simple recipe. There's not much in the hops. It's a clean beer. It should be a clean beer. Well, Doppelbock is actually the most famous Doppelbock is from Paulaner. And the Paulaner monks, they started brewing this in the 1500s in Bayern, near Munich. So they invented this and they called it liquid bread because they couldn't eat during the day, so they drank something like this instead. And what you get when you put your nose into it is caramel, bready notes. Yeah, and that's it. It's almost impossible to see, but it is a clear beer. It smells really lovely. So I get a little sweetness. It doesn't linger on. There's just enough bitterness to cut off the sweetness. There's a lot of bread, there's a lot of caramel. And then I think the Kveik yeast actually adds a little bit of a subtle fruitiness to it, which doesn't make it as clean as a Paulaner Salvator, but almost. If I didn't know it was a Kveik, I would guess it was, yeah, I don't know. You can taste that it's not that clean a fermentation. Not as clean as a lager yeast. Yeah, but it's a great beer. It really is. It's bready, it's caramel, a little hint of licorice. Yeah, and basically that's it. You can't taste that it's 7.4%. It is easy to drink. It tastes really great. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. It's a good example of a Doppelbock. It really is. Yeah. So yeah, I recommend you to try and brew it. Recipe is down in the description. Yeah, but I also you can also just make it out of the video here. So if you have any questions, write to me. Other than that, just have a happy brewing out there.